Alrighty, ladies. What time is it?
Ask
Your
your
aunties. And so Auntie Jarrell kind of hinted at it earlier. We got a question from and I wrote his name down and forgot to see what it was again. Kenyon. I think that's Kenyon Williams. I give him your whole government. Sorry, boo.
Damn. He just came for my friend. Just like said his whole business.
So I got your social, your everything. But he said, "Hey, aunties. So I've seen this photo of Bad Bunny in a mini dress going around, mostly in Spanish-speaking communities, with a phrase that translates to stop giving praise to cis heterosexual men of doing things that the LGBTQIA plus people are ridiculed for. So I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on this." And for those that hadn't seen it, it's a picture of him, and I think this is Bad Bunny. I think he's kind of handsome, but this was kind of going around a couple weeks ago around Instagram. So if you go on YouTube, if you aren't subscribed, please hit the bell button, all that stuff. But showing the picture now, and he's kind of like
what kind of shoes does he got on? Is that a heel?
It's a little heel, yeah.
Okay.
So he got the little heel,
kitty cat.
you know.
Kitty cat.
That looks about 3 or 4 inches. That's
Right? No, it's a nice little heel. Yeah. It's the socks though for me. Like, why are you wearing the socks like that? But so what are your thoughts? Like, obviously we've kind of had this a little while ago with even like Harry Styles being like on like Vogue and everything, and a lot of the folks in the community are like, okay, cool, he looks good, but we've been doing this forever, and y'all been beating us up, killing us, and things like that. How are you giving these guys shine now?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a this and that kind of thing. Like, honestly, I don't care, because as long as it's changing the norm for generations after us about, masculinity and self-identification, whether you're gay, straight, or whatever, like, it doesn't matter. Like, your clothes doesn't define your sexuality or your sexual orientation. Like, we got to understand that clothes is just an expression of who we are, what we're feeling, not who we are, And so I honestly, I don't mind. And I know, like, there's a history, and even still to this day, there are still moments where people are, hate crimed against based off of what they're wearing, or discriminated against or teased or ridiculed, especially if it doesn't fit the masculine hetero norms. But the truth of the fact is, if people who identify as straight, especially men, aren't showing this side of femininity, then it's hard to have examples of, see, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because you can be wherever you want and wear whatever you want, and it doesn't fucking matter. So as much as I want to be respectful of our past and where we've come from as a community, and those who and continue to and have suffered based off of what they've what they have worn, I think we still need to think about the future as far as, well, how do we change our past? If we get caught up so much in the past that we don't make room for the future, then we're not going to have progress. And I think it's moments and having acceptance, and also not giving a fuck. Mind your damn business. You ain't wearing it. Like, like, why does it fucking matter? It's a picture at the end of the day. It ain't hurting nobody. He looked good. His thighs look great. Fuck them socks. But like,
yeah.
And to me, that's the real gag at the end of the day is, why are you so pressed about it? Whether you hate it because he don't look good, or you hate it because you're homophobic, or you hate it because there's a history of people in our community, like, the hate either way means you pressed, and you shouldn't be pressed about something that has shit to do with you.
What you think of Duan?
I feel like it's a slippery slope to do these kind of comparisons, because like, at the end of the day, there are always going to be people out there that are doing things Hey,
Hey,
Fizz.
Fizz. Okay, give us a show, boo. Give
Oh,
us a
okay.
show.
It's going on
All
YouTube,
right.
girl. I just
Cow,
Yes.
cow, cow.
She tried to sneak in here, like the Pink Panther bitch. She was like,
Right.
"Oh no, I'm about to get you."
Check the YouTube. Check the YouTube.
I feel like this is a slippery slope kind of argument. Like, one, you can't talk out of one side of your mouth and be like, damn, toxic masculinity, all this other kind of like stuff, and how, being a toxic male, cisgendered heterosexual male, and how that has impacted, people in the LGBTQIA community negatively, and impacted people within their own community negatively. And now you have people who are saying, I'm going to use my platform, my body, my Instagram, my following, my whatever, and I'm going to buck the system, and I'm going to lean into things that are perceived as traditionally feminine or for women, and I'm going to rock it, I'm going to own it. And whatever their reasoning is behind that, at least in this scenario, it's not malicious towards the LGBTQ, it's not like malicious towards our community. It's somebody who, and in fact, is performing an act of allyship, and performing an act of what's the word I'm looking for? Not anarchy, protest, an act of protest against the social norms that put us in these buckets of things have to be male or female, feminine or masculine. And I just think that it's a slippery slope. We can do the same comparisons, and sometimes we do unfairly, when people cop to things that we as Black people say that we own, in terms
That's
of
what I
like,
was thinking in my head too.
big butts and, cornrows and other things. And it's like, it's unfair to make those kinds of assertions that one person's expression, is, and people praising him or them or whomever for how they're expressing themselves and using their platform, is in some way a slight against the suffering that people within our community have felt. Like, one doesn't take away from the other. And in fact, I like what Dwayne Wade said about the conversation in the barbershop with, his, that interview with others, and talking about his daughter, and the fact that he was thanking people like Little Boosie, the haters, for bringing up the conversation so that you can have a bigger conversation about it. And I think that this is an example of, let's have a bigger conversation about, like the impact that something like this can have, Joel, to like what you were talking about earlier, the impact that something like this can have for the future.
There is one thing I didn't think about. Oh, sorry, Corel, I'll let you go first before I go. Sorry, bro.
I agree with what you guys are saying, but and I feel like where this stems from is because, like, I was thinking kind of just like the cornrows, or even like other communities stealing our music and things like that, where at the end of the day we just want to feel seen and visible, and then it takes someone like a Bad Bunny to wear the same thing and they're seen still more than our community. And so I think that's just the only aspect where sometimes you're like, damn, I've been doing this.
Do you think so?
And
But that's not
a
why
little
he's
bit.
seen, though. But that's not why he's seen. I don't like. I think that's why people are talking about him.
Right. That's why people, not like the question, but I just think the communities,
yeah.
I think that's what they're saying. Just like, we've been doing this and you've been calling me out my name my entire life for wearing that same outfit. And then now someone as popular as a Bad Bunny that identifies as cis hetero wears it. Oh, now you want to rock it? Now, and you're not giving him that same smoke you gave me? Fuck you. And so it's just like, I kind of see both sides of it. But I also agree where it's just like, we need folks like that to push the narrative, to make people that are uncomfortable with it be like, oh shit, why am I uncomfortable? And kind of deal with themselves. And the weird thing to me is just like, who decided that a dress is a female thing? You know, because like back in the day, we had dudes wearing wigs, we had dudes wearing dresses, and it was probably some random white dude
Look,
along the
pink,
way uncomfortable with
pink,
themselves.
pink was a masculine color up until the 1900s.
Exactly. So it's just like, so once you really kind of break all that down and understand the history stuff, it's just a stupid argument to say clothing makes you XYZ. Like that's ridiculous. But so it's just so like in one regards, I see why there might be so a little uproar and some uneasiness in the community saying we've been doing this. But on the flip side, I agree with what you guys said is just like unfortunately that sometimes comes with a lot of this that it takes someone in the majority to justify what the minority has been doing all along, and it sucks.
I think
but
that it justifies, though. I think like and I don't think that this is a matter of justifying or validating what the LGBTQ IA community has been doing. I think this is a sign that the work that they have been doing,
that's a true statement too,
and with the support of their allies, has got us to a place that allows for someone to take a chance and step out into this kind of vulnerable area to put themselves up for scrutiny like this. I mean,
this is the question that it raises, though, because to your point there, like, is it performative though? That and I wonder if that's more where the question is coming from. Is not necessarily about him being in a skirt, but like, is he doing this shit to get attention, or is he living in his truth?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Because I mean, it's cool if it's both, but if it's not both, if it's him being performative to try to get some attention, to try to be seen, that's just not cool. That's not cool.
Yeah.
And I think that may be where the question is more coming from versus having a problem with him in the skirt. Because like you said, we have not heard about him identifying an LGBTQIA plus community. We don't know if he's cool, if he's pro, if he's cool with the, with our community or not. And then just see this man just come out. Because we've seen that a lot lately, a lot more men, when they are in these cover photo, like these photo shoots, are definitely kind of tipping that line more. And that's kind of why we even had the conversation about Harry Styles. But we've learned that that's just Harry Styles. Like he was being his authentic self, and he is pro the community. I mean, he hasn't officially came out as far as like where he may be on the spectrum of the LGBTQIA plus community. But I mean, it's kind of evident there, paying attention. I was at his concert, I've seen some videos. But
I'll watch. Let me say a few things.
But I think that does matter, though. Like, if someone is expressing themselves for who they are, or if they're trying to
just monetize off of something that's not truly you,
I would definitely have an issue with that. And it's not about a man wearing a skirt. It's about you trying to use kind of what you were saying, Carol, like what our struggle, things that we've identified as struggles, but you're using it as something to uplift yourself. I just feel like that's not cool.
And I see Dewan too, like how it is a slippery slope, because it's like how do you prove that? How do you and so it's just like I get and might be just
suck honestly, some dick, bitch. Suck some dick, bitch. You can prove it. That
OnlyFans.
I just think it's problem. I think it's problem. Sorry, I just think it's problematic when you have people in the LGBTQIA community saying that we own this look, we own this kind of expression. Like, you don't own being feminine. You don't. We all share, and we all share. It's like what RuPaul said, we're born naked and everything else is drag. Sure, and I get performativeness and all that kind of stuff. When you're a celebrity, not that I would know personally.
You getting up there, boo.
You
want to see Shark.
But like when you're a celebrity, you're put in a bunch of different situations where, it's you're doing things to promote a bunch of things, and not everything that you're doing, not everything you're wearing is an authentic expression of who you are. So if you're doing a photo shoot and you're wearing whatever it is that you're wearing, even if it's, you know, gender bending and whatnot, that might just have just been the creative
That
direction
day.
of that particular photo shoot, not a, you know, I'm going to capitalize on this, or, you know, that goes to intention. And I just get very wary when when there is speculation about intention, right? And comparing that to struggles that other people are having. That's all.
Yeah, like, and it's all kind of gonna be a gray area because we don't know Bad Bunny. So Bad Bunny, if you see this, come on the show, let us know. But
Clear the air.
yeah,
Lift the skirt up.
Yeah.
and Bad Bunny, you could get it low key. But yeah, I feel like all the feelings are valid because we've seen it happen to so many communities before. Of feeling like what your true identity being stolen when it might not have been their true identity all along.
And I
And
wouldn't
again,
say
we
it's
don't know
identity
if it
though. I
or
think
like
it's more
and
so
maybe
like
identity
the
is a
right.
bad word, but like
It's like just being able to be who you
Expression.
are, your expression, to be
right, your
able
expression's
to
better,
be
yeah.
able to do, you know, to express who you are wholly, authentically. I That matters, and I think that's why it matters when you have a platform. When you have a huge platform like that, you are able to do so much more. You don't operate in the same type of orbit as the rest of us do. So I think it is important that we hold people accountable who have a platform to not piss on communities, or to try to simplify. Oh well, Joe Smo may have gone through it and they may have had a horrible time, but that's not, you know, my experience, or try to make light of it. I think it's important, if you have a platform, that you need to be cognitive of that, whether that's the creative decision of that day or not. You need to be responsible. You need to make better decisions.
And rereading like the question here, and then maybe it's just the consistency of the praise part because it's saying praise cis heterosexual men of doing things that the LGBTQIA plus people are ridiculed for. So it's that consistency. It's like maybe the one day you ridiculing us for wearing that same dress just because we're gay or part of that community, but then a cis hetero man wears that same dress and you're like, oh, that's so forward thinking. Oh, that's future shit. All that, you know. And maybe that's where it's just kind of rubbing folks the wrong ways. It's like, oh no, be consistent then, boo, because I rocked that shit yesterday, looking just
Yeah.
as fly, and then now a cis hetero person did it. Now it's fly. No, that's not how
I
it
am
works.
so conflicted and torn because now I can't help but think about the conversation of bisexuality, you know,
Yeah,
and how on both sides, whether
yeah.
it's hetero or part of the community, there's always something you like. Damn, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up. Bad Bunny, you look good.
Right, you look good.
But
It's like at the
you
end of the
look
day,
good. At
and
the end
that's
of the
all
day, you
I
look
say.
good.
If you do it
Like,
good, you do it good.
yeah.
And that's the one thing, especially as a black community, you see, like we'll be the first community to get props if you do it good. It's like, oh, okay, you killed that. You killed that. Okay, just
I mean,
give
I
us a
wouldn't say
little
he
credit.
killed
You
it. I
know
just said
where
he
it's
looked good. His legs look good.
right. Yeah, well,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean, he
right.
just looked like a travel size bottle of Pepto Bismol. I mean,
It happens.
honestly, with the pink. But you know,
Upset stomach, diarrhea. Go Pepto Bismol. But yeah, so I mean, community, let us know. Let us know what you're thinking. We'll put this as a clip as well. We want to hear what you're thinking. So, like this picture of Bad Bunny, do you feel like folks giving him praise is just upping the cis hetero community and still downing our community, or do you think this is actually pushing the norms forward and just saying, "Hey, do you, boo"? So we'll see.
And
That's a good question. Uh-huh.
I just wanted to just go back to the article to find out exactly what the conversation was. And there was an interview with Vogue, and if you don't mind, I just
Yeah.
want to just share this. It says late last month, Bad Bunny appeared on the Tonight Show to promote his new sophomore record, and it's a bunch of letters. And then which just became the highest charting entirely Spanish language album of all time on the Billboard charts. It was the Puerto Rican's outfit that got the most attention. Bad Bunny saying "ignorantes" in a pink blazer and black skirt and a black T-shirt that read "Maratona de Alexa," And I don't know how to pronounce the rest of it, which basically translates to "They killed Alexa, not a man in a skirt," which was a reference to Alexa Negron Luciano, a homeless transgender woman murdered last month in Taoa Baja, Puerto Rico.
Yep.
So, and then he said that Bunny might have worn the skirt that week in a moment of solidarity, but the photo shoot he did was around his album. He wore yet another dress, and this time without the deeper significance. He accompanied an Instagram post where he thanked his fans for believing in him, and making history with a series of photos in that taupe skirt layered over a white mini dress. So, and then he goes on to say, when Bad Bunny came to the Vogue offices before the release of the new album last month, he cited the dress in particular as one of his favorite pieces. He said, "I love that outfit. I don't have many dresses," which intimates that he does have some dresses that he wears on his own. So that, and then Bad Bunny was hinting that he planned to wear more during his everyday life. What better way to celebrate the historic moment and honor Alexa than throwing on a festive frock? So, kind of out of context, he was actually doing this to raise awareness, not only to promote his album, but also to raise awareness of the fact that transgender people are still, being poorly treated. So, again, this doesn't, in my view, pull away from the plight of trans individuals. And again, I think it's dangerous when we assume people's intent without really digging in to do the work. And, if someone is giving Bad Bunny praise for putting on a dress and,
it sucks that they had to use the word historic, though. That's like, it's just like, and I think that goes back to the question. It's just like,
historic was referencing his album being the highest grossing album that's 100% Spanish and not the fact that historic of being killed.
Or no, not even that part. I was thinking like it was a historic moment of him being on Vogue in a dress.
Oh no. It was the historic moment was the album.
Okay,
was the album. That was
okay. That's what I was about to say.
So to me, what it's saying is, to me, it's saying two things. One, it's saying that this is a form of raising awareness, and it sounds like there's a thread of advocacy through his album that's shining light, particularly on the LGBTQIA community, particularly those that are trans, and raising attention to that. And then B, or part two, is that apparently this is a part of his evolving identity. And I think it's important that we realize that we as human beings have the opportunity to evolve. And though we might not be wearing, or I might not be wearing a dress today, that's not to stop me from, if I see a cute dress in the store window and I want to buy that, or if I see that cute crop top or whatever and I want to buy that and put it on, my ability to do that and to put that on doesn't necessarily mean that I'm, if I were a heterosexual straight man. What is
that?
It's sliding, it's like making light of, a very situation that people should be concerned about.
Sometimes you just wear something because it's fly. It's nothing deeper than that.
And I just want to point out one thing too, because like hearing like the part from the article that you just read, like that completely changes my perception of the whole question and my answer. Like I definitely lean more towards what you were saying now, Dewan, knowing more a little bit about Bad Bunny. But I think that's just a testament to like, about speaking on things without research, or speaking on things without, taking the time to find out the facts and stuff like that. Like that's a little bit of a dangerous thing, because my original answers were based off of how I felt and what I've experienced. But now knowing the facts of behind the whole photo shoot, that changes. Like, well, although it may not be where I'm from or what I've experienced, but that is his truth. Like he is living his truth. But I think it's one of those things where you still have to, I would still love to make sure just though people with that type of platform, make sure that like it's a little bit more evident that is also that their truth,
Yep.
Like
I agree.
You know,
And
like
it
it's
doesn't
great that the
invalidate the
article said that.
question.
Right,
It doesn't
it
invalidate the
at all.
question.
No,
I
it
don't.
doesn't.
What I question is whether or not it should be pointed at Bad Bunny, and if that's the appropriate place for it,
Yeah.
or should we be calling out if we're gonna use our platform and call people out? Let's call out the people that are that we know are using it. Like, where are the Rachel Dolezals of the the cross dressing
And I don't-
sex guys?
and I don't think this
where are the
question-
people that are using it as like
Right.
as a way to get clout versus
Yeah.
it's a general expression.
And I don't know if it was necessarily Bad Bunny directed at him. I think that was just the latest instance that brought up the question again.
Yeah,
Because
100%,
he's just saying
100%.
cis hetero men, so it's not necessarily
Yeah.
Bad Bunny. I think that was just the
No.
latest in a string of seeing, especially celebrities
Yeah.
out there in dresses or whatever we might deem or what society might deem as more feminine or not the norm for a cis hetero man to be in. And I just think he just happened to be in the crossfire. Wrong, right spot, wrong time, or whatever.
Right.
So, but that's a good
What's
question.
that,
We like those. Those are a little different.
Who's that basketball? I'm trying to remember his name and it's escaping me. What's that basketball player that was like super crazy friends with Kim Jong-il?
Dennis Rodman.
Thank you. This is a guy who lived
He did it in the 90s.
Right. And and there are plenty examples of his good Lord, I can't even talk tonight. Of straight heterosexual, cisgender men who have, donned a frock or two or whatever that, is just the thing that they do. I think it's, to Jarrell's point, it's always valid to ask the question, are we holding ourselves and one another together, not just pointing a finger? Because there's a whole lot of Twitter warriors that are out there that are just so looking for a gotcha moment, So like, I look at every single question like this where somebody's pointing a finger, like, you got one finger pointing there, and how many fingers are pointing at you? So like, if we're gonna call anybody out, let's just make sure that it's mutual, that we hold ourselves accountable and we hold one another accountable to make sure that we're just doing the right by the platform that we have.
Yeah, so continue to send your questions to AY at Minority Report. I got tongue-tied still, minorityReport.com or DM us. Exactly.